Good afternoon, everyone. Super excited today about a new capability that I've been working on that brings together a couple of things that I already had: code generation with the ability to, control the code that's being built from anywhere. I actually inflated this code by using the code generator to inflate the code, and that self-evolving agent is a really, really big thing right now. If you look at some of the um, tools that are out there now, we have auto search. Auto search, what it's capable of is doing research on your behalf, and it uses a very small LLM and experiments, overnight autonomously. I love this idea. I've added it to my code generator that I created last year, and it fixes a 5-minute time budget. Like the I didn't bother with the code that was here, utilizing code with the concepts more than anything. I like to write my own code, but really thought it was really cool to generate concepts, experiment, and keep some, get rid of others. 5 minutes. The other thing that I used and I thought was really cool is this deep research agent alongside that. And what deep research does is it really wants to evolve itself over time. The code will improve itself. And so let's see if I can blow that up. So it aspires to do all of these things. And I've written something similar to this. So those of you that have seen my work from last year, it has something similar. But I like the organization here, where it's focused on some of these things as aspirational subjects, and so it generates, reflects, evaluates, commits, and so I built something like that myself. But I love the way this is kind of been described. So this is a and then finally another one to look at, and there's a lot more these days if we're looking at generative code assistants. This is another self-improving agent by News Research or New Research. I don't know how to say that. Don't kill me for that. And it has a terminal interface, scheduled automations, delegates, runs anywhere, just not on your laptop, etc. And I like this idea. So I have my code assistant does something similar. We kind of can run anywhere and actually can delegate to other machines. I have a DGX Spark running in front of me, but I also have Brev machines. I also have Mac Minis, Jetson Thors, and Intel-based machines, all that my main machine controls. So now we established what we've built. Let me just show you. And oh, by the way, I'm super excited that I've now in the Inception program. So just want to point out that I really enjoy NVIDIA products. As you might notice, I have talked about them for the last 6 years or so, going back to the Jetson Nano, where I kind of, actually the T1 and T2, where I kind of, started with Jetson products. Super excited to have spent some time with, Jensen and his team, including his daughter Madison and son Spencer. And so I'm super excited about. Went to GCC, it was awesome. But NemoClaw was one of the most exciting things that I saw at TTC. Not that I like OpenClaw so much, because you can do so many bad things with it, and especially if you don't understand the security. But NemoClaw uses this thing called OpenShell, and OpenShell gives you access to 2 out of 3 things that you need in order to be really dangerous. So what I've done with my own code base is I've done the same thing. I've brought in OpenShell. So before I was running containers, now essentially it's a similar thing. But one of these days I'm going to remember to turn that off. Do not disturb. 1 hour. And so, not to talk too much about this, but I'm using OpenShell, I'm using Nematron, and I'm using a step-up protocol that says if whatever we're building is too complex, we're going to step up from what we're using, the tools that we're using. Say we're overloading the DGX Spark, and I've tried all my downstream racines from this. I have an RTX 6000 as well. Tried all of those. We will just progressively get bigger with approval from the person who happens to be me in this particular case, that approves. Okay, so I named it Prometheus. Um, brought the fire, and so what it does is it probes, it researches, designs, specs, builds, and here it's using cloud models, Gemini, Grok, Claude, NemoClaw, inside of its containers, tests, delivers, and then it's live. So all of these I can stop at every step. As you can see here, like if I look back, it was probing, it gathered some facts. It doesn't tell me what those are unless I decide I want to know about them. So let's do a /doing to see what it's up to. Okay, then let's also use /help to see all the commands that are possible. So you can see here, these are all the all the different things that are possible. It wrote most of these. Very few of them did I write. I wrote a build harness, which has a kind of like baseline. We call that, it's the wrong word for it, but a kernel. So I wrote a kernel. The kernel goes and says, these are the files that you shouldn't really touch. And then you can see what else is going on here. I also have a version of this that uses just straight chat, so that I can just chat with the Prometheus. It has the ability to go live, and I can kind of voice chat. Probably don't want to do this here because it doesn't really give us much to talk to voice chat. But let's just say, what are you building? And it's thinking. It's going to go back, and I can feel my DGX Spark getting warm because it's running Nematron. It's writing stats command into my Telegram interface. This will allow you to get your current status directly from our chat. Oh, okay, cool. So that's what it's doing. What have you completed? And so it has full knowledge of everything that's been built. It has all of the commands that we could ever run. It assesses them through MCP as tools, and it has full knowledge of the research that we've completed. So here's some research from yesterday. It runs this research once a day in the morning, usually at 7 a.m. And I deleted this morning's because it actually had an error, and it was like running obsessively. I could see a build failed, and it just kept trying to build it over and over again because I wasn't responding in time, and I asked for something the next day. So here's a morning briefing. Today's the 31st, right there, and it goes through and says, I'm doing a brief. I'm reading papers. It read the paper. It gives me the most important part of this paper that I'd be interested in. I really am into AI and robotics, so it gave me the best parts of this. And if anyone asks me how I know so much about robotics or about AI, now I can't say that I did the work. Like before, 100% true that I would have gone through and done all the work to research and look through all these papers, but I don't want to do that anymore. Now it looks over different code bases. It looks over Hugging Face. Looks over some papers that are out there, and then that goes through looking at Google DeepMind, Apple's ML, and Amazon Science. It goes through all of these different papers, and also the internet, to try to figure out what's best for me to know about. And so what's today's news? Open source CAD in the browser solve space. Never heard about that. Let's open that up. Ooh, well, hopefully the web version, maybe they can work on using open source. I won't say anything worse about that. But anyway, so yeah, so here's some other things. Oracle slashes 30,000 jobs with an email. Uh, and then Artemis, which I was really interested in it, and the moon activity was said not safe to fly. So so this is the kind of stuff that happened this morning. And so I get this news every single day. Tells me about my stocks. Missing a couple on here, but yeah, it tells me about all my stocks, the things I care about. So this is all about me. So if you think about OpenClaw, it does some similar stuff, and you can create skills just like you can do here. The difference here is I'm containerized. The entire thing is containerized. There's nothing that it has any external access unless I explicitly tell you to go do something, go do some research, etc. There's no inbound access. The inbound access is only through Telegram and only through a API handshake. So, love OpenClaw for what it does, but this is, and then the other thing is you're actually getting functionality to build itself. So, certainly I will be publishing this open source once it's fully working, but I wanted to give you guys an early look. And so, here, this is the thing that I like the most, the fact that I can be anywhere and I can write code in the way that as an engineer, I want to be able to influence the code. If you think about the code assistants that are functioning today, typically you're doing all the things that I'm doing here. Like I'm able to influence the code, I'm able to reject it, I'm able to tell it why, give it theories about stuff I wanted to work on, what I wanted to build, how I wanted to clean up. If there's a failure, it can come tell me about the failure and I can help it or I can let it run on its own. So, and then I choose the models and I choose when it runs. So if I want to run this at 2 in the morning with Nemotron and nothing else is running on my boxes and I just want to get a bunch of functionality, the next day I'll come in and let me just show you, what happens the next day from yesterday to today, what I walked into. Okay, one sec. Don't want to give away all my secrets, but there we go. So yesterday I went to bed and I had this kernel that I created. It was 6 files. The 6 files have to do with the orchestration layer, the code generator, QA loop, the critic. What am I missing? The project manager. And when I came back, it had created 25 files, and then I ran it, and it all worked. Very, very, very interesting. And if you look at the GitHub repositories, what it did was before it put the files into the kernel, it went and tested it as a capability. And so here it's just now testing 3 new capabilities. Once the capabilities are approved, it sends me a telegram that says, hey, this is what I built. Do you want to check it out? Do you want me to auto test this? It creates its own test, but not just creates its own test. If it needs an environment that the test needs to run in or an application, so here it's drafting a specification for the next thing in the pipeline. And it'll just keep going. The pipeline will keep going whether or not I approve or not. And so as it picks up skills, and these are self-directed skills, unless I click on build and I have it build something, it's just going to go ahead and build whatever it wants. And I'm yes, just like you, I'm very wary of the singularity event. So what I am doing is, and you can see it here, real time, it's building out this wiring stats into the Telegram. So it wrote itself a spec that it approved. And you're seeing this in real time. It's writing its own spec. It does its own research. Sometimes it doesn't need to do research. It decides when it needs to research or not. If there is some research that has links, it will add those links as well. It seems like it's chosen Sonnet for the research, and it gets to choose what it wants. So if it has enough memory, it will it'll choose the memory, where it wants to what it wants to use, and it'll just continue on doing that. So really, just an amazing piece of technology, of which I just gave it seed. All I said was, matter of fact, I'll let you know exactly what I did here. I said, I want you to execute this spec based upon, so here's one of the specs. I want you to look at this whenever you decide you want to build something new. I want you to think about, all right, is this the best thing? Can I look through GitHub to see where the knowledge is about this thing? Do I rank the solutions that I find? How easy is it going to be to do test-driven development? All this I'm asking it to think about before it even writes out its own spec. And then once it's done writing its spec with acceptance criteria, then we're in here where I don't know why I named it resume, but that was kind of weird. But you can see how the patterns here, the acceptance criteria, the integration points. It's going through and looking at all of these and it's writing its own code base. So that's I don't know. When I did this last year, I was focused on external things, like it was doing research and writing just random code in those research. But now this is actually writing its own code base, and I approve it all. Certainly, hopefully, I'm not the person, if they find this 200 years from now, that caused the singularity. But I hope that you all get something interesting out of this. And when it's near ready, I will publish it. There's no point in hiding code anymore. But when this is near ready, or maybe I'll contribute to one of these others that has, kind of similar things going on. Awesome. Well, hopefully you got something out of this, and thank you. Don't ask me for the code yet, because the code is not ready, but I will post the code at some point. Thanks. Bye.